Hello and welcome back to Car Rental University. I am your host, Alex Withrow. Today we're going to talk about the different splits and profit share options on all the different car share platforms and which one is best for you. Before I get into that, click below, grab the 5 things you must do before starting a car rental business. That also includes the car share growth guide. It gives you a city by city breakdown of which car share platform is best for you. Lots of good information in there. So let's get into this. I've got a lot of notes here. So we have 4 major car share platforms now that have a variety of different profit share and split options. And I think that it's worth noting that, most companies give you options. Obviously, Getaround is the only one that does not, but I think that, depending on the size of your fleet, when, a car share platform has a variety of options on profit splits, it does give you a nice flexibility with regards to, when to use them and when not to use them. So, let's start with Turo. And in my opinion, I think Turo has the best model with regards to profit share and splits. It really gives the host a lot of flexibility, whether you have one car or whether you have, 500 or 10,000 cars. So obviously they have 5 different options. It ranges from 60% host take all the way up to 90% host take. And they basically graduate the deductibles all the way up. So on the 60 plan, pretty much, they cover almost pretty much everything. And, there are 3 options in between, and then all the way up to the 90 plan where you keep 90% of revenue on the platform, but you have a much higher deductible, obviously. What I like about Turo in this regard is that 80% of the cars on Turo are pretty much people who are just have 1 or 2 cars on Turo, and they're basically just trying to pay off their, auto loan note with Turo. That's pretty much how 80% of Turo operates. And so, in that scenario, I think the 60 or the 70 plan is a really good plan for those people that just have 1 or 2 cars. But once you have, 20, 30 cars more than that, it makes sense to go up to those higher levels of profit splits. And even though it's a higher deductible, just because you have so much money coming in. And that's what I really like about Turo in that regard, is that it gives you a really nice flexibility with regards to how to strategize and put together the plan for your fleet, and it grows with you as you grow. HyreCar has 4 options. The lowest starts at 70-30 split. So you keep 70% of the revenue, they keep 30. Their most risky one is an 85-15 split. In my opinion, I don't think there's as much difference between the 4 options on HyreCar. Obviously, there's some things where they say, oh, well, we'll cover impounds on some of them, and others we'll cover gas on some of them. Frankly, in my opinion, in my experience with HyreCar, if you try to get them to cover an impound when they say they're going to cover an impound, they usually will fight you on it, which is super stupid and annoying, but that's just HyreCar. I mean, that's how they work. So in my opinion, when Turo says, okay, on the 60 plan, this is what's covered, and on the 75 plan, this is what's covered, they actually adhere to it, and they actually hold that, word, which is why they're doing well as a company. But HyreCar, frankly, I just don't really take them at their word. I don't really know what's going to happen with them, when they say they're going to cover an impound or not. I've had protection plans where my impounds were covered and they didn't cover it, so I don't really know what's going to happen with HyreCar with regards to what they say they're going to cover or not. What I would say, if you're going to do HyreCar, you're actually going to put the car on HyreCar and use one of the protection plans, put it on the highest protection. So put it on the 70. Because if you put it on anything less than that, frankly, they're just going to screw you over. So with HyreCar, I would definitely put it on the 70 option. Now, Getaround, we all know Getaround. Getaround has one option, a 60-40 split. In my opinion, I think that Getaround is going to need to introduce more options on splits in the future. I've talked about this before. Frankly, I just don't think they're going to do it. They just love that 40% to themselves. I think their reasoning is that, well, we have an algorithm that can get more money out of customers and still get you, the host, quite a good monthly take, even at 60%, and that's been their logic in the past. I would say that it's not quite operating like that anymore, but a year or two ago that was the case. Even on the 60 split, you could still pull easily 12 to 1500 in gross revenue a month per car on Getaround, which was pretty impressive, frankly. But it would be nice, honestly, if they introduced more splits, more options. If there was like a 75 or a 90, that would be nice. But I don't see Getaround budging off that stance anytime soon. And then lastly, we have Uber Carshare. Uber Carshare has two options. The 65-35, that's so you keep 65% of the revenue. That is when you have one or two cars on the platform, and then you get 85. You keep 85 if you have three or more. So with Uber Carshare, if that is, if you're like in Boston right now, it makes total sense to try to get up to three cars and to move that to, get onto that 85 split right away. And so, I feel like that's really the best case scenario with them. And, in terms of the things that they cover, the 65 and the 85, there's not a big difference. I mean, they're going to basically cover all accidents, and there's not a large variance in terms of what's going to happen or not be covered. So it's not like Turo in that regard. But overall, I would say that's kind of the breakdown. If you have one or two cars that you are renting, I would probably recommend either going with the Turo 60 plan or Getaround their 60 plan. I think that just when you have fewer cars, it's better to have more protection on the car because you don't have as many cars to offset any damages. When you are scaled, if you have 5 or more cars or 10 cars or more, I would probably recommend going with either the Uber car share option at the 85% or more, or the split, or I would recommend maybe the 80 or 90 plan on Turo as you have more cars and you are scaling. But so that's really the way you have to think about it is, okay, when I have 10 cars or 15 cars or more, I can handle that higher deductible, not a big deal. And that's really the advantage of scaling with that. So all that to say, I think that what's nice about this industry now is that there's a lot of options. 5 years ago, this wasn't the case. So all that to say, drop some comments. Would love to hear what your thoughts are on this. Before I go, click below, grab the 5 things you must do before starting a car rental business. I will catch you in the next episode. Thank you.